Welcome to Mic'd and Medicated.
And this is our first rodeo.
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw!
Welcome to Mic'd and Medicated.
I feel very sophisticated right now because we have new equipment. We're actually re-recording this episode because as imperfect humans, we did what we thought was a great podcast with no sound. So it would have been great in the Charlie Chaplin era. Actually, we should have just done that. We should have kept it in mind and did all kind of crap.
Subtitles. We could do a video clip of us just mouthing and see if people can guess what we're saying.
Yeah, I think that's actually kind of fun.
Oh, I think that's funny. We should.
We're also overstimulated. Maybe we need a little take it down. It's only one sense that you're using, your eyes, instead of your eyes, your ears. And
that is kind of the theme of today's episode, overstimulated in a way.
Yeah, I think what we're kind of calling this, which, and you'll understand the title of it as we go through it, is it's the one where being present is the present.
That sounds very woo-woo.
It's actually based on Friends. All Friends episodes were called The One With, and we're going to talk about, our nostalgia for 1990s sitcoms. And I think it just felt right. And we're going to talk about some presents, being disappointed by them, and being present.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. It's not woo-woo. It just makes sense because we're smart, or I'm smart that I came up with it.
It's actually brilliant. Bravo.
Yeah. Bravo.
So very quickly, before we get into it, we've received a lot of feedback that it can be confusing to know who is speaking when. So just to clarify, I'm Eva. I laugh like a hyena. Caroline made me say that. I love it.
I'm Eva, and I laugh like a hyena.
And my husband is Doug.
And he's a thug.
Oh, my God. I think we might have a little rap going on. Duh, duh, duh. This is Eva.
I laugh like a hyena.
Except the two of us are not Eva, so now no one's going to understand who's Eva.
I'm Eva, and now Caroline.
Let me reintroduce myself. My name is, I'm Caroline. I probably shouldn't be rapping. I'm just a white Jewish girl from the Upper East Side. And my husband's name is Jeremy. And you'll know it's me if I am not saying something quoted in the Harvard Business Review, or I'm probably using a expletive. That's how you'll know it's me.
And with that,
Gelman, our producer / co-host / now that she's an official mic, I feel like she's going to jump in more. She's feeling more ready to be on and off the cam.
That's right. I am that Gelman, though, to your Regis and your Kathy Lee. Not Kelly, Kathy Lee. I like to go old school. But yes, I'm producer Gelman, a.k.a. Courtney. And my husband, Jason, got a full prank call last week. Hope you guys listened to that. If not, go back to episode 7. And very excited to have my own mic and to be going into this episode. So let's get into it.
Yeah, cheers. We're going to really hope this works this time. If not, we'll just have to do it again.
Yeah, cheers. That's a sitcom, too.
Oh, yeah. Where everybody knows your name.
Actually, this might be a bit of a tangent, but we were having a conversation the other week where I was saying I actually love to go to Three Guys because it feels like Cheers. And I rarely ever go. I've been, maybe I can count on one hand how many times I've been in my life, but I love that when I go, it's like, oh, hi, oh, hi, oh, hi.
Oh, my God. I am actually the opposite. I hate Three Guys. Not only is the food absolutely disgusting for the price, it's literally, I can't even eat it. And then you can watch them in that dirty kitchen. Sorry, cooking it. But I
Next
can't.
to the bathroom.
It's just horrible.
Oh my God. I think of it as a very elevated diner experience.
No, and then I also hate, sorry if I've ever seen you at Three Guys, I hate seeing anybody at Three Guys. I hate seeing people. I like to be incognito. I'd only go to Three Guys with purple hair and a wig or something. I would rather, and I'm so Israeli pro-Jewish everything, but I'd have to go to a Palestinian chicken restaurant. like in Curb when he wants to cheat on his wife because he doesn't know anybody. It's too much of my kind there.
Maybe I'm just revealing how socially starved I am, having worked my whole life and never been in the neighborhood during the day running into people. But in any case, we digress.
I do want to do one thing, though. I think we talked about this. We need to go with our mics outside Three Guys and just interview people. Where are you coming from and where are you going? Because I think that would be really fun.
What are you wearing?
Fun content.
Is it a Birkin?
Is it a Picotin?
I bet you there's a lot of messenger
a lot of
bags
Picotins. No, apparently Picotin is the new messenger.
Oh, it's easy to get
them. Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Oh,
so
now I'm feeling a little better.
No, yeah. I think it means your bag's even worse. lower on the hierarchy. Okay.
But I am very excited to do that because we want this to be a conversation, and we feel and hope that you are feeling engaged and participating, but to be able to get you in the mic room and giving us
Except not the mic room because we're going to be outside. But I get what you're saying. We want to break the third wall. Isn't that what it's called in theater?
Yes.
Ooh, I love it.
Look at me, all fancy. Okay, well.
If we're going to go into the one where being present is the present, I think we should start with the 10th wedding anniversary present.
Yes.
Okay.
That was the light bulb moment, wasn't it, Caroline?
It was the light bulb. It was the inspiration. I feel like everything is just something with Jeremy and I is just the impetus for husband bashing or
Well, no,
bashing,
this is
but
very
I
much
agree.
not
This
that.
is actually very
This was
sweet.
really more reflective of us. This was a light bulb about us.
I agree.
And if I might say, a teachable moment from an older woman to a younger woman.
It was. And you're both.
Back in my day.
By the way, you're both seniors to me. Sorry.
Yes,
I'm the young spring chicken over here. So you're right. It was a teachable moment. Our anniversary was Good Friday, which was really not good if you are Jewish and need a babysitter. But I hope all you Christians had a great day. And so we celebrated the day before. And I get to dinner and, we have really nice cards we give each other. It was really sweet. I'm like, who am I kidding? Yes, the card was great, but I want my fucking gift. It's 10 years, So I'm kind of like waiting, he's like, it's not ready. I'm like, what do you mean it's not ready? Like, you've known for a year that it was going to be our 10th anniversary. Like, there should be no reason. This wasn't a surprise, But anyway, he's like, maybe it'll be ready tomorrow. Just like tension of, did he get it right? Do I even know what I want? And so the next day we're going out to the Hamptons. Sound really obnoxious, but the car actually in the garage doesn't turn on, which was very us. So we had to jump it, whatever that means. So we're finally cruising. We're about to hit the Midtown Tunnel. The kids are on the iPads. They've kind of just stopped fighting. And then he's like, I got to stop here. I'm like, what do you mean you just stop? Like, we're going. We're going to hit traffic. He's like, I got to stop. We're on 49th and 5th. And I'm thinking, okay, well, this is the jewelry district.
Yeah.
It's like 30 minutes. I'm waiting. He's like, the kids start screaming again. I'm like, I'm going to fucking kill him. And if this is not jewelry, I don't even know what I'm going to do.
And you can't turn the car off. I believe,
right. He said, if you turn the car off, it will never start. Do not touch it. And Teddy's like, he heard my husband say that. So he keeps trying to unseat belt and reach over to try to turn the car. So it's a battle of him trying to turn the car off, me screaming.
And it's stressful. I've been there where we're leaving the city and we have to make a stop. And it's not a legal parking spot. So you're looking, making sure.
Exactly.
You don't know if you're blocking traffic or if a bus is going to pull up.
It was
wants to add more time to the long drive.
It was only worth it for jewelry, honestly, at this point. So 25 minutes later, after the kids, I look like I was in the movie Twister. And he comes in. So I'm like, that better have been jewelry. Why'd you say that? Just shut up. Obviously, it's jewelry. It's not a total idiot. I mean, he's an idiot, but not an idiot.
Yeah, that's not the place you'd stop to get a Starbucks before
for 30 minutes. Unless you want to come back with your head cut off. So that night, we had a romantic anniversary dinner with our kids. It was a joke. That's impossible. But right after dinner, my husband gave me a present. It was a beautiful sapphire ring. And I should have said nothing but this is so gorgeous. But it was obviously not exactly what I wanted, even though I don't even know if I knew what I wanted. And I was like, oh, I like it. I don't know. I don't really like it. And he was really upset. And my kids were looking at me and B's like, I'll have it if you don't want it. And I'm like to my daughter, no, you're not going to have it. It's going to get exchanged. There's no,
But can I say, you did send me and Courtney a text with a picture of this gorgeous, substantial, beautiful ring. And it was on B's finger. And you're like, doesn't it look good on B's finger? I want a ring that looks that way on my finger.
Because on B, it looked really big,
We're like, wait, can we see it on your finger?
Yeah.
It's like a child's finger.
I don't know. And then I kept complaining and I was like, it's not what I wanted. It's not what I sent. And my daughter, who's obviously smarter than me, goes, well, it's better than nothing. And my son was kind of, Mom, that's so mean. I was thinking about it. And I was still in that, when you get in that moment of what you think you want something and you're not listening to the outside noise.
Yeah.
So I text my girls over here, my old seniors, and I show them it. I tell them about the gift and, they're both like, that's amazing. He deserves some, fun stuff. And Eva's like, if you say you don't like it, he's not going to give you a gift anymore. It's like it's like a dog with Pavlov, they'll be conditioned to never get you a gift if you're always upset. So all these things. So they really kind of steered me in this direction of, I was thinking about just, I don't know, somehow we were watching Notting Hill and I was thinking about, those movies where you sort of were allowed to be that damsel in distress. And I was like, you know what? Wait, my husband, whether he picked it out 5 days ago or not, like he picked it out with love and it was romantic and I kind of ruined that. And luckily, when I figured this all out, it was Easter weekend. So the resurrection of Christ, I was able to resurrect myself, and
you have risen.
I had risen. Somehow you guys really with your old wise skills helped me not be a bitch. And I kind of took that Notting Hill moment of when Julia is standing in front of Hugh Grant and saying, I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy asking him to love her. It's like, I want my husband to be Hugh Grant and romantic, but then I have to be Julia. Like, I can't just be this psycho bitch. I have to allow that and be vulnerable. And I said, you know what? I do really love this gift. It was so beautiful and thoughtful. And I'm always going to remember us for our 10 year. And I said it in front of my kids, and my daughter, I think, was upset because she was like, I thought I was getting that ring. And my husband was just so happy, but it was genuine. I was,
I was going to say,
that's the moral of the story. Just don't be a bitch.
Right. No, but what I was going to say is I think the reason that you were able to resurrect the situation is because it was genuine and heartfelt, and that you actually were able to share your journey and realization. And I think it's an amazing moment for your kids to see that you can do something, but you don't have to stand by it if you evolve your thinking and you want to be better, do better. And I think if you had just said it sort of to placate him, then he wouldn't have been happy. But I think he knows that your heart is big and full and in the right place and that you love him. And I think because he knows that, it's also why he doesn't get mad when you're like, wait, this isn't exactly what I sent you the picture of to get me.
Right. I think he was disappointed, but yes, no, he was very happy. And he that's the good news about being someone who's unfiltered is I'm never going to be full of shit. He's like, really? You mean that? And I was like, no, seriously, I don't lie. I mean, yes, it was teachable. My kids obviously can realize you can have a decision impulsively and then think about it, or that I'm completely spoiled and an asshole. Something beautiful, but either way.
And also just apologizing, because I think one of the things we want to talk about today is we've been criticizing our husbands, saying that they either don't have the capacity or don't have the thoughtfulness to do what we need them to do. But at the same time, let's turn that lens inward, and do we take some of the responsibility? Why should our husbands feel romantic and wanting to be so selfless and helpful to us if all we're doing is shitting on them?
Exactly. They're, again, I don't want to say that they're dogs, but dogs only respond to positive enforcement. If you don't say, good job, they won't do it. And I think,
especially when they put thought into it. And
right. I said to after this, we were having lunch this weekend, and I said to Doug, you know what? I think I really would love a cocktail ring. I was inspired looking at Caroline's beautiful sapphire. And Doug was like, whatever you want. And I was like, no, I want you to just surprise me, go get it, hand it to me on, our anniversary. And he was like, so I could get it wrong like Jeremy?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden that hit me too, where I was like, oh, he's afraid. He would love to do that for me, but he doesn't want the experience of being.
No one wants to feel like a Jeremy. I mean, that's going to be a thing people are going to say. But I think that exactly, you sent me that. It was all at once. And this is why you can't just rely on your husband. You have to have friends that are girls who understand you and can help you make good decisions. But again, this is what made me think of those 90s movies. And I think it was Barry Weiss had a whole essay, and it was written in that essay where rom-coms exist to remind us that we don't know everything, not even about what we need, and that intimacy, like humor, involves surprise. And yes. I just feel like that is probably why we are feeling nostalgic for that moment, but that line really hits me where it's you know what? You can't control everything. You have to give room and allow, and, we can have low expectations for them to fuck up, but low expectations can be on the reg, daily stupid stuff, this plan or this. But when it's something special and romantic, let's not fuck it up.
And by the way, what I love about what you're saying, though, is also for whatever reason, we figured out how to be vulnerable and connect with our husbands. We all have deeply satisfying, happy marriages, but yet
they're just perfect every day.
but on balance. But we've regressed where because we want to control everything, because we want things to be perfect, because we have these high expectations and sort of demands coming from all aspects of our life, we like have lost that ability to be vulnerable and connect. So what ends up happening is we aren't doing what that quote said so beautifully. We aren't sort of allowing that kind of spontaneous and vulnerable connection.
But then part of me is like, is that sentence also setting me up for like a false expectation? Because like, is he just like on a Friday when you have kids, it's hard to like be spontaneously romantic. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
As much as I love Notting Hill and Love Actually and all those amazing movies, it is not real. This is 40 is my life, right? Like that's, that's real. Like that's something that I can take from. But how do we take from something that's so ridiculous and unrealistic, but that we love and is so comforting and actually bring that? Because like, I guess it's trusting your spouse, or I don't know, because I don't trust that in this time of our life that, you know, my husband's just going to like throw the romantic petals, but maybe I don't need petals. I don't know.
But it's like we undercut their efforts by being like, that better have been jewelry. And I think you had, like, you were telling me about your engagement story, Gelman.
Yeah, your story. And I think maybe I'm realizing this is probably why I said to you, Kara, like, he deserved, like, go Jeremy. He did a great job.
Do you want a treat?
Go, Jeremy. Go,
Do you want a treat?
Go. Yeah.
Here's a treat. Come, boy. Come, boy.
Put on your shoes and coat, and you're at the door on time. Great job.
No, but I feel so. My friends are going to be texting and be like, dude, I'm so sorry, man. I'm here for you. Maybe you need a new wife.
But it reminded me because when Jason went to propose to me, I had been working at the time, like a corporate job. And, you know, he was working as he does now. And he had to get up early and he had this whole plan. He was like, okay, meet me at the peninsula for massages later. And like something was up and I was like, what? And like, I knew the proposal was coming, but what? So I said to him, you better not be proposing to me at a massage place.
Well, I mean, I have to say,
what's wrong with me? Why did I do that?
No, because I am so sorry, but like, I have to agree with you here. And I know I'm obviously not the smartest when it comes to this. Who the fuck wants to get engaged after their hair is greasy? They've got line marks from the neck pillow. And then they're like, here's smile. And you're just like, it's June. That is the stupidest thing ever, Jason.
Poor Jason. He had planned this
Poor
whole
Jason,
nice
that's
thing.
stupid.
No, but he really do agree with Caroline. But he planned this whole
like,
nice
hold on, let me
thing.
just fix myself. Oh,
Because he knows I love massages. So clearly,
it's so greasy. Jason, the ring's too big.
That sparkly ring now is what it is.
It's falling off because of all the grease. It's like, damn it, I got the wrong size.
But like, you don't really
touch somebody after.
But oh my God, I was such a bitch. And like, he had put so much thought into it and he had planned. And I remember after the fact, he told me, he called my mom. He was like, should I change it? What should I do? And she's like, no, keep it as it is. This is a nice and thoughtful thing. So, but in the end, it really was. He took me up to the roof. He had a photographer.
Did you look okay?
Who wants a photo?
Yes. I was a little disheveled.
But in all seriousness.
I mean, it's not like that's a momentous moment. You want to save those photos forever, Jason.
But in all seriousness, I think that's a great example because men are being vulnerable when they go out on a limb and plan something and they're putting their heart out when they pick out a gift or set up a proposal. And I think this notion of vulnerability is a two-way street. And I think we shut them down.
Yes.
And then we complain that they're not that
way. We don't even
way.
give them a chance to start, you know? They've like already failed before they tried.
I think there's something deeper here about how we are so overstimulated. And that's why maybe we're so wound up in a way. I think we do need to go back to that 90s more present.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
well, it's interesting because one of the reasons we wanted to talk about the present is the presence and refer to these 90s sitcoms is we all have kids that are starting to watch TV. And there's such a stark contrast between the shows we grew up with, although admittedly I grew up with shows that, you know, you guys were like in the womb.
No, I'm just kidding.
So when I think about Growing Pains, Full House,
Family Ties, you know, Family Matters, even Roseanne. I mean, it was a little less, but it was still like family oriented, you know?
Or Friends. Like they're all shows that they're wholesome in a way. The characters, it's about who they are and how they feel and how they relate to each other. And most of it happens in the home Versus today, when I think about watching a show like Billions or Succession, they're so different. It's about status. It's about power.
Materialism.
But it's just this notion that you had no idea what people did for a living in those old shows.
Or like it didn't matter. Like, I mean, let's just say like Rachel, who was so beloved, was, as Ross said, just a waitress. You know, no one focused on that. I mean, no one even knew what Chandler did when they were playing a trivia game. They're like, he's a transponster, you know? Or I mean, Jerry Seinfeld was a comedian. I don't know what the fuck they did. It was not about that. It was about the human experience, sharing it, you know, exactly the way you said, Full House. It was centered in the living room, in the kitchen with family dinners. But it also, like, it wasn't that it didn't show any issues. It showed friends would show issues in relationships, but it also kind of gave you tools on how to navigate to make those good decisions. Or like Danny Tanner, when everybody who watched Full House remembers Gia with Stephanie, who was like trying to get her to be bad and smoke a cigarette. And like you witness a father try to sort of deal with a daughter who's thinking about making those teenage bad decisions. And like you see that you can make a mistake and tell your parent, or you know what I mean? It just like was really it was good.
I'm feeling a little badly that my daughter and I are coming off of Gossip Girl, The OC, all of these shows where I'm not sure the morals come through because the parents, like, you know what it was in the old days? The parents were like, even 90210, the parents are around and they're like the source of sensible decision making and
they're
steady, authoritative. You know, we are like the captain of the ship and we will make sure everything goes right and we will be there to support you or guide you through this. And then, like, by contrast, the parents were worse than the kids on Gossip Girl.
Yeah, but I think, like, to not feel guilty, you watching the show with your child is a great activity. Like, you're spending time with her. And that's like a teachable moment where you can be like, oh, like, these are fucked up parents, which is why Chuck Bass makes really fucked up decisions.
Totally.
You know? And like, before you make a fucked up decision, remember, I'm a really good mom watching the show with you and it affects me. You know, I mean, we all can do better and we're all, it's just.
By the way, I think, thank you for that. I feel better. And like, we do have so much dialogue around the shows. When Chuck and B, when Chuck and B break up and she goes and gets like super drunk and has a ton of shots.
Oh, Blair. Oh, wow. You're really in Gossip Girl right now.
Eleanor will say to me like, how many shots do you take to get really drunk? And I'm like, oh dear, we're going to have a really important conversation right now.
Right. No, I think that's great.
Oh dear.
Right. Like, I didn't need to watch Full House with my parents because I had Danny Tanner right there. Like, it wasn't teaching me anything bad.
Right. But I think back to like the watching TV as a family, it's one of the reasons we've talked about TV is actually a pretty wholesome activity that you can do as a family. You're all together, you're snuggling on the couch. Like, I love our family movie nights.
TV shows are great. I don't know where everybody got this like obsession to overschedule your kids, be psychotic, Russian math, bullshit this, bullshit that. Nobody has time to just like watch a show. Look, I do not like YouTube. It really annoys me when my kids watch like Asian kids in like Taiwan playing with Legos and opening little surprise toys. Because I'm like, or my son will watch Mark Rover and he'll be like, it's educational. And the show's like, how many quarts of pee fit in the pool? I'm like, no, watch Ferris Bueller. That is like voodoo economics. Like, now I know what that is, you know, learn something. Even though Ferris was quote unquote bad, now that I'm thinking about it, he didn't really do anything crazy. I mean, it's so unrealistic crazy. He pretended to be sick.
Right.
He was with his girlfriend. They went to Chicago. I mean, it wasn't like crazy. There was no drugs involved in that. There was no drinking. There was no sluttiness. It was just kind of fun. Right. Innocent fun.
Yeah. I mean, those John Hughes movies were the best.
I recall Central Park and fall.
No, but like, I wanted to be Molly Ringwald in 16 Candles at the end when Jake is waiting for her at the church. Mm-hmm. And I think back to rom-coms and the romance and learning vulnerability from those shows and how our daughters don't have those models. We have to, as women now, we're told we are the girl bosses. We do it all. Like, we don't even need a man. It's why you're reading all these articles about women not getting married. But yes, that's what I was going to say. We do. And I think, why can't we teach our daughters both? Like, why can't they be girl bosses and also be vulnerable and be damsels in distress sometimes too?
I mean, I agree. Mm-hmm. I think, you know, look, thankfully generations before us made it so you don't have to be June Cleaver in the kitchen. You have choices and options. But sometimes the more choices and options you have, the more complicated life becomes. So as parents, we have to be honest. Like, look, if you want to be a mom and you're a girl, I'm sorry, freezing your eggs doesn't mean you can start dating at 40. That's an insurance, but it's not really insurance. You know, it's like you need to prioritize. Maybe, yeah, you want to be high up in the corporate ladder, but don't cancel that date with somebody that you really wanted to see. And, you know, it's just like.
And can't we celebrate that? Can't we say, if your dream is to have babies and be a mom, and I know we can, like, this is sort of old ground in the sense that that is what feminism today is. You have a choice to do it all. But I think
what's ended people think that.
Oh, see, I feel like of my generation, we talked about, you know, the generation above us, they burned bras, they broke through the glass ceiling. They're pissed that we now feel like it's a choice. And like a lot of my friends from Harvard Business School chose to stop working and be moms. And like, that's amazing. That's their choice.
It's fucking harder than working.
Right. And they're badass. You're right. That's their work. They chose. They're badass moms and they give back to their communities in other ways and blah, blah, blah. But I guess my point is, now I think it's, you can have it all, so you must do it all, and you don't need to depend on a man.
Right. I feel like there's a pressure as a woman that,
especially in New York City,
not a choice, but a pressure that you should do it all. You have to have the job and the family, and you can't, like, there's this, it's impossible to balance it all. And I find that
you can have the job and the family and not make money, and you have a husband who makes money, but you don't need him.
Right. Like, no, like I'm sorry,
yes,
but like,
exactly.
I need my husband, or I would not be sitting on this couch with microphone stands if I had to pay the bills. Like, I'm sorry. I know women are like, well, I don't want to be dependent on a man. It's like, okay, so you can be dependent on your career, your job, your company that doesn't give a fuck about you and will fire you. What is the difference?
Interesting.
At least with a husband, they probably have life insurance.
That is really interesting. When I had my first child and then I went back to work, I felt like something wasn't right, and I felt like I had to make a choice, and I felt somewhat of a failure that I was choosing mom over career. But it's very interesting that you just said that, because I felt like I was sort of succumbing to being reliant on a man. But you're right. I feel like at the end of the day, they could fire me at any time that they want.
Well, humans we're not solo people. We're supposed to be a tribe. You know what I mean? We're supposed to rely on each other. You can't just be dependent on yourself. Like, you're not going to be in the woods like Wilson with the tennis ball in that movie with Tom Hanks.
It's hard. I kind of get why it's hard for our men to romance us and to treat us the way we see men treating women in rom-coms and we aspire for, when we don't let our guard down or show our vulnerability and act like we do everything, we do it all.
No one wants to hug a porcupine. Like, it's just true. Like, in all fairness, like, sometimes I'm worse than a porcupine. They seem kind of cute.
Me too.
I'm like a scorpion. I'm like, hug me. You know? Like, why would he want to do that? He says he'll, like, if I get into that crazy, like, he'll literally inwardly just turn in and like cow. You know?
Right. So what do we do? Like, I guess I'm very action oriented.
So you're kind of masculine in that way.
Well, I will say, on the flip side, I've talked to my therapist about this before. And she's like, have you ever just said how you feel? And it's like, whoa, duh, of course I should do that. So I remember I said to Jason once, I was like, can you just give me a hug right now? I really needed that. And he was like, oh my God, of course.
I know. That's really sweet. Usually I'm like,
and like, you got to tell them what you need.
I know. You don't, it's so true. Cause like, Jeremy, are you like mad at me? Do you want a hug? And I'm like, no, even though I just really want a hug.
By the way, I just had an epiphany. I mean, we were talking about how men do not process the same amount of language that we do in the last episode.
Yeah.
We were talking about how you have to speak to them like children.
Yep.
But yet we
make love to me now.
but yet we then say at the same time, you're so brilliant that you can read my mind and give me exactly what I need without telling you.
It's impossible. We don't listen to ourselves.
Why do we think that that's going to work? I always do that. I'm always like, he should read my mind and know what I'm thinking.
He's not a woman.
Anticipate. Exactly.
We're not lesbians, okay?
Thank God.
I just cannot imagine.
We're way smarter to be able to pick up.
Can you imagine what it's like being in a lesbian relationship when like both women have their period? Like, I just like don't even know what that's like. It's like probably just like cat fighting and screaming.
Yeah.
Like somebody moves out.
I've got to be honest. The emotional intensity of that also makes me want to vomit.
No, I could never do that. I'd rather be with a gay man.
I'm the kind of person who like, I probably desperately need a hug, but even if someone is wrapping their arms around me, I'm like, stop. I'm fine. I don't like, stop touching.
Sometimes I'll say to Jeremy when this is so not politically correct, but whatever. He like needs a hug and I'll hug him. I'm like, you're like autistic. Stop. And I'll like hug him and I'll like back away. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong? Like, let me hug you.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah, you are like Jeremy. Yeah.
Oh, Jay Labs, I'm feeling you right now.
Doug, that's why we vibe, man.
Yeah.
We thugs.
We Dougs.
Doug, we a thug.
But you know what? Yeah, I think we need to re-listen to our episode having low expectations, but also know that, you know what? Sometimes I like what you said, Courtney. It's just like, say what you want. Jeremy, when you hear this, I just want you to come home and give me a hug and tell me I'm beautiful and special, even if you don't mean it.
And Doug, you do come home and tell me I'm beautiful and special.
Fuck you, Eva. You have that every day.
And I
gotta go to the bathroom.
I am making a public promise that I am going to hug you and kiss you for that, not run past you telling you how stressed and overwhelmed I am and how the dishwasher needs to be filled.
Yeah. Girl, what are you going to do, Courtney? You're already doing it.
Oh, wait.
Yes. And go pick up that chicken at the BBQ place.
Yeah. And you know what? It's like, we all have to have a little more patience. And also, this is another thing. Even with our kids, I feel like when I have an issue, I have to like discuss it immediately. Like I can have patience with that also. Like my grandma tells me that when her mother, so my great grandmother was watching a television program in probably the 1950s, my grandmother would come in and say, Mom, I need to talk to you about my X, Y, and Z. And she would say, well, Barbara, your problems will be here in 20 minutes, but their problems, pointing to the TV, will not be.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And by the way, I will tell you something I've worked on in therapy that I think I've improved on is I used to, when there was an issue, it felt so urgent and immediate and like all about me. And I would call Doug at work and be like, and like having no care that he might be in a meeting, delivering a presentation or have his own things going on. And now I always check myself when I want to call him and I'm like, can this wait? Do I need to bring this up now? What's going on in his world right now? And I will hold back and wait until we're in a calm moment. And I do think that that's really important. And I wish I had the excuse of your great grandmother, but unfortunately my kids will be like, can you just pause for a minute? I need you. Right. Pausing didn't exist back then.
I know. Well, look, we have to take our own advice. Like because we had to re-record today, our timing is off and I promised my daughter I'd pick her up at nursery school and now I'm not. And I'm like, oh shit. Feel bad, but you know what? I'm going to be here in 20 minutes. Like 20 minutes, she'll be home and I will still be here. And if I had gone to pick her up, you guys wouldn't be here. It applies to not just TV shows. Like sometimes we have to just bend like the willow, like my therapist said. Look at us.
I love that.
And you can be present for her when she comes.
And I'm not going to play Blockbuster.
Yeah. And by the way, I like what you just said about that because it's like giving yourself the grace, giving our husbands the grace, bending like a willow.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think when you're playing Block Blast and supposed to be reading your kid a book, you can then like have a little, self-compassion. Although for that one, Courtney.
That's pretty bad. Can we just, before we end, our final story is going to be, Courtney, this is a really bad parenting thing, but it's pretty bad, but like she has a really high score, so I get it now. But can you just quickly tell the story?
Oh, I'm so addicted. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm so addicted that sometimes I'll be like reading Ellie a book book, and then I'll like stop and I'll do a little move on a Block Blast. And
no,
then Ellie,
you have Block Blast. You have the phone in the book and you're playing while you're reading.
And then Ellie will be like, Mom, keep reading. Stop playing.
Oh, so she knows.
She knows.
So
yeah.
But I felt so guilty last night after we recorded and I was talking about that and I was like, I am present. I am not going to do that. And we had a great reading.
It's much better when you pay attention, right?
And by the way, I think that I learned something from that because I have so much respect for you and knowing that you can get distracted from reading to your daughter and playing Block Blast. It gives me compassion for my kids when they're playing something on the phone. Rather than think they're just assholes who aren't paying attention to me, I can be like, oh, well, if it could happen.
Yeah, I mean, actually,
so many distractions.
I started playing Block Blast, which is like Tetris, and it's amazing. Don't download it.
Don't download it, guys.
Yeah, maybe they want to advertise with us. But anyway, my son saw that he downloaded it on my phone and was playing it, and he was like, see, now you know why I downloaded it on Poppy's phone and why I always want Poppy's phone. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. This is like crack, man. Like, I get why we go to a restaurant. I'm like, here are crayons and a coloring book. He's like, Poppy, give me the phone. Poppy, the phone.
Can I have a game on your phone?
Block Blast?
Yeah.
Crayons.
Okay, so I hate to do this again.
We got to wrap up because Eva has to catch a flight and I got to be a Pom. I got to be a
better
mom.
have tickets this time.
That's what I said.
I booked myself. Okay, so we're going to continue this. This is like the beginning of a really long conversation. I feel like this was like
very deep for us. I hope people still have some chuckles. But I also think it shows that we're pretty smart. We're not just...
You can be deep and groovy at the same time.
Oh, you're really old, man.
Groovy.
I mean,
Groovy
this is
jingle.
Wasn't this podcast swell, Marianne? Like that's how they used to talk. No, it's okay. You're not that old.
You look phenomenal.
Phenoms.
Tell me
Not
more.
cringe.
Tell me more.
Like, did he have a car? Tell me more. Tell me more. Did you rent one today when you go to Chicago?
Doug got me the dollar car.
Good luck with the reservation. It won't be there.
And the moral of the story is you can be sandy and needy and vulnerable, but you can also be hot sandy.
And there's the phone ringing that I don't even know where it is in this room.
And
Scene.
thanks for listening to Mic'd and Medicated. We hope you loved listening to us.
But even if you didn't, we have zero shame. So still subscribe to our podcast, leave a comment, and a 5-star review.
And follow us on Instagram and slide into our DMs because they are wide open.
This show was created in New York City and hosted and produced by
Eva Heyman
and Caroline Leventhal. And mic drop.